Hi there, this is Pete with BoardGameBoost.com. Thanks for joining me. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the assembly of the fourth version of the leader stands for the game Star Wars Rebellion by Fantasy Flight Games. Not much has changed from version 3. In fact, they look identical, but in this version, the connections on the base have been tightened up even further, and most importantly, the sets now come with an assembly tool to make building the stands even easier and make it extremely difficult to break any pieces during the assembly process. So let me take you through it. First and foremost, when you receive your item in the mail, you're going to have a series of brackets that have all the pieces in them. So at some point you will need to break all those pieces out of the brackets. Most notably, you're now going to receive a bracket that looks like this. This is HDF, which is a fiberboard material, and you may say that it looks pretty ugly, and in fact it does, but don't worry, because this has nothing to do with anything you're going to build and actually use during the game. This is what the parts of the assembly tool are made out of. Now you may say, Pete, why am I going to spend time building something that I'm not even going to use with the game? I understand that concern, but I can assure you that once you see how this works and how much easier it's going to make building these stands, this is really going to be a time saver in the end for you. So let's start with building the tool. I've broken out these pieces, and in addition to the bracket of these pieces, you're going to have one lone piece of acrylic. Like this. It has the paper on it. You don't need to peel it off because, again, this is just a tool. It doesn't need to look good for anything. So before we even assemble that, let me just show you that ultimately the tool is going to look like this. And as you can see, it's a kind of a wacky looking contraption, but I'll show you how it works in a second. So let's go ahead and build that really quickly. It's very simple. You have two pairs of identical pieces, and then this third piece. So we're going to just take these pieces and snap them in. As you can see, the sizes are such that you cannot build it incorrectly. So you can just snap this in. They push together very easily and securely. So go ahead and put both pieces into one side the first time. Okay. So now we have that. Now we're going to go ahead and take the other piece, just line it up so that the arms are facing the same way, of course. And line the pins up with the holes, and then push down. And that snaps together, again, nicely and securely. Okay, now go ahead and just back the top out just a little bit and take your acrylic piece and just put the pins in these two holes and then just snap it back together. So now we have this piece in place. Lastly, you're going to take this panel. You're going to have the rectangle side facing forward. It just slides in here into these slots, and then in the back there are just these little pins sticking up. You can see right there. They just fit into these grooves, and now we're done. So you can see this tool assembles extremely quickly. Okay, and it just has this flap that moves back and forth. Okay, so let's put that aside for now. We'll come back to that. Next, you're going to, once you have the pieces for the stands popped out of their brackets, you're going to need to peel the paper off of both sides of each piece. This protective paper is left on there so that the parts don't get any damage while they're in shipment to you. So one thing you'll see with any product from BoardGameBoost.com are these protrusions that look like letter B's. The B's stand for break off, and all you're going to do is, you can see that there's a line underneath the B on one side. So you're going to break off away from that. I'm just going to apply a little bit of pressure, and as you can see, it just snapped right off. And what that does is take the protective paper with it so that you don't have to be picking for an edge of the paper with your fingernail. So you can do that with gloves on. It's very easy. Just pull the paper off. And again, now I'll go the other way. Just snap it off and pull the paper, and it comes right off. So you're going to need to do that with all of the pieces, but because of that, it'll go very quickly. All right, let's build a stand. We'll start with a rebel stand for Mon Mothma. So each stand consists of the main centerpiece. That's the frame for the token. 3 pieces make up the actual base. You have this hourglass looking piece, a cloverleaf kind of looking piece, and then a circle piece. And it goes in this order that you can see right here. And then lastly, you have 2 clear window pieces that go on either side of this frame. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is take the main frame and we're going to add the circle piece to it. You can see that the circle has a couple different slots in it, but it only fits on one way. So just go ahead and fit it over the pins and it just sits down like that. It does not snap in, it just sits. Next, we're going to take the cloverleaf piece, and again you see a bunch of holes, and once again it'll only fit on one way. So line it up with the holes and you'll get it like this. And then my advice would be to put your 2 thumbs on the inside of this frame, and then your fingers up here, and then you just push it down and it snaps on those pins into position, like so. Okay, and you see that there's still some pin sticking out. Okay, make sure when you're putting pressure on this that you don't push anywhere on this frame piece, as it's delicate and can break. So you always want to be pushing right over these pins right here. Okay, and lastly, we're going to put on the hourglass piece. Much like the others, it has a bunch of holes, but it can only go on one way. And you should note that it doesn't go on parallel to the frame. It goes on perpendicular like this. So just line up the holes. And in this case, since the pins are done, you can just kind of pinch it together between your 2 fingers and your thumb, and it's all set. So now we have the frame installed on the base. Okay, so far so good. Next, we're going to take one of our 2 window pieces, and you can see that there's 2 holes on both sides of the frame piece. So we're going to take this and we're just going to line it up, and we're going to push down, but we're not going to snap it all the way down. We're just going to push down until it's a little bit in and you start to get resistance. Okay, so just leave it sticking up a little bit for now. We're going to put our token in at this point, so in she goes. And then we're going to take the other window and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to put it in the slot until you get resistance, but we're not going to push down. There's 2 reasons we're not going to lock these in by hand. One is that it does take a significant amount of force to push them down and lock fully. The other is because of that, and because of the kind of wobbly nature of the stand at this point, it's very easy to slip and put the wrong kind of pressure on the stand and end up having it break off. So that's where this new tool comes in. So we're going to get the stand to this point. And then what we're going to do is, you can see that there's an opening here. So we're just going to hold the stand with our one hand and just drop this tool over the stand with the other hand, like that. Okay, so you can see there are slots. I guess you can't see this side, but there are slots on both sides for where the base can be without intruding with this. You can see it's sticking up through the slot, and everything's fine. So at this point, we're going to just push this flap over. And now we are going to have to add quite a bit of force, but because of this tool, it's going to be holding this securely in place, and you're going to be able to add some leverage pressure down on this that is going to help make it go in easily. This part right here is for your non-dominant hand. So in my case, I'm right-handed. I'm going to use my left hand. I'm going to put my palm right on that. And in my case, I like to stand up and put my body weight down on this. So I'm going to stand up and put weight straight down on this. And then with my right hand, I'm going to use my right palm and put pressure straight down on this part. And what I do is 3 to 4 heavy pushes straight down. It is pretty much impossible to break the stand while it's in this tool, so don't be afraid to use a good amount of force. Use your body weight. Just do 4 pushes. Here we go. Okay, and you heard it on the 3rd one, it really snapped down. Now I pull this out and you can see the whole stand is completely level, flush, fully assembled, and it's very tight. There's no more wobble at all. Everything is nice and secure. Mon Mothma is not going anywhere. So let's do it one more time. This time we'll do a Imperial Stand. Good old Colonel Yularen. So it's going to be the exact same process for a Empire Stand. We're going to take the main frame. Going to put the circles on first, like that. We're going to take the cloverleaf piece, line it up with the holes, put thumbs right over the pins, and snap together. Then we're going to take the hourglass, pinch together, and snaps together. Okay, so now we have our basin frame. We take one of the two windows, put it in the holes on the left side, get it started, but don't have to push down all the way. Take my token, put it in the frame, like that. Take my other window piece, line it up. Okay, so we're ready for the tool at this point. I'm going to take this, just put it over the top like that. Flop this over. Left hand, or right hand in your case, non-dominant hand, add some pressure straight down so that that holds this in place. Take my right hand, add pressure straight down. 2 or 3 pushes. You'll hear it snapping as you go. Take it out, and you see it's completely assembled. No problem. You don't have to use a lot of hand pressure or hand strength. You don't need a lot of precision with your force, because this is holding it completely in place. And really, like I said, it's pretty much impossible to break the stand while it's in this tool. So don't be afraid to use the force needed to snap these pieces down. These rings come with the game to denote different status effects. When you need to add one, you simply slide it over the base like this, all the way up to the circle part, so all the way up to the very bottom of the frame. And then you simply turn 90 degrees, and the notch in the ring will sit in the groove on the base. Hopefully the lighting is good enough there, but that will prevent it from falling off. But it doesn't require any pressure on either the base or the cardboard, and as a result there'll be no damage to either component. So that's it. If you have any questions or difficulty while you're assembling your product, of course just drop me a note. I'm always here to help. But otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and if you do buy this, I hope you enjoy it. And as always, just remember, if you're playing, you're already winning. See you next time.